Let me ask you something. Why is it that the adult child loses sleep, cries in the car, second guesses every decision, while the parent, the one who's actually moving, often adjusts faster? I see this all the time. Adult children are carrying layers of guilt, anxiety, and fear while their parent, weeks or months later, says something like, I actually feel relieved. Today, we're going to talk about why adult children often feel more guilt than their parents during senior transitions, what's really happening emotionally, and how to release that guilt without abandoning your values or your love. Hi, I'm Dale Corpus, a senior transition specialist and real estate expert based in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm also part of the sandwich generation, balancing my own life while helping aging parents plan what comes next. This is another episode of Sandwich Generation Solutions powered by the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, where we talk honestly about the emotional side of senior care, not just the logistics. Let's dive in. I've worked with numerous families across Contra Costa, Alameda, Santa Clara, San Mateo, and San Francisco counties. And here's the pattern. The adult child feels like they're betraying their parent. The adult child feels like they failed. The adult child replays promises from decades ago. The adult child feels responsible for their parent's happiness. Meanwhile, the parent, after an adjustment period, often experiences less stress, more support, less isolation, more structure, and relief from managing everything alone. So, why the disconnect? Adult children aren't just making a housing decision. They're carrying childhood rules, old family dynamics, cultural expectations, unspoken promises, fear of judgment from siblings, and fear of being the bad guy. Many of my clients say things like, I feel like I'm taking something away from them. But here's the truth. Guilt isn't proof that you're doing something wrong. Guilt is proof that you care. Parents often see the transition differently. This part surprises families. Many seniors, especially after a fall, health scare, or long period of isolation, are quietly exhausted. They may not say it out loud, but they're thinking, I can't keep up anymore. I don't want to be a burden. I'm tired of worrying my kids. This house is too much. I've had parents in Walnut Creek, Danville, and Palo Alto tell me I should have done this sooner. But adult children don't hear that at first because they're projecting their own fear onto the situation. The guilt is rooted in loss, not logic. Adult children grieve before the move ever happens. They grieve the family home, the version of their parent who was fully independent, and the illusion that things would stay the same. That grief often disguises itself as guilt. So when you feel guilty, ask yourself, am I actually doing something harmful, or am I grieving change? Those are very different things. Here's something I want families to hear clearly. Many parents feel relief once the decision is made, because the constant fear of falling, of forgetting medication, of being alone, of worrying their children finally eases. Structure feels safe, support feels comforting, connection feels energizing. Adult children, on the other hand, lose their role, the fixer, the protector, the rescuer, and that can feel unsettling. In many cultures, including Asian, Latino, and immigrant families I work with throughout the Bay Area, guilt is amplified by tradition. There's often an unspoken belief. Good children sacrifice everything. But here's the reframe. Supporting your parent doesn't mean suffering alongside them. It means building a system that works for everyone. That's not abandonment, that's evolution. So here are a few mindset shifts I share with families. 1, you're not choosing convenience, you're choosing sustainability. 2, safety, connection, and dignity are not failures of love. 3, a decision made with care is still loving, even if it's hard. 4, your parents' adjustment doesn't erase your effort, it validates it. 5, guilt fades, burnout doesn't. And lastly, the question, That changes everything. Instead of asking, am I a bad son or daughter? Ask, is this helping my parent live with more dignity and support? That question cuts through guilt and brings clarity. So today we talked about why adult children often feel more guilt than their parents, the emotional baggage adult children carry, why parents sometimes feel relief instead, how grief disguises itself as guilt, and healthy ways to reframe and release guilt. If this episode hit close to home, you're not alone. This has been another episode of Sandwich Generation Solutions powered by the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast. If your family is navigating senior living decisions, downsizing, or figuring out what to do with a parent's home, I can help. Schedule a free consultation and learn more about my services at www.simplifyseniortransitions.com. DM me on Instagram anytime at Sold by Dale. You can also watch and listen to the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast right here on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. If this resonated, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's carrying more guilt than they should. I'm Dale Corpus, and I'll see you on the next episode.